Hi, everyone. My name's Jake Kiser. I'm really excited for this session that we've entitled The Economics of FIDO, and I'll show you why, because I think we can all get excited about maybe reducing some cost in your business, maybe increasing some revenue, and being more secure. Like, yes, it is that good. FIDO is that technology that I think you've picked up by now is both more secure and more convenient. So today we're going to unpack more of the business side of FIDO. There's been a lot of technical presentations to date. This presentation should be good for you if you're director, senior level, or you talk to those people in your life. We're going to focus more on the business economics of FIDO. Here's what we're going to talk through. So very briefly, we'll talk about who StrongKey is, and then quite quickly, we'll talk about what FIDO is. I'm sure you're getting that message a lot, so we're not going to spend too much time there. And then the bulk of the presentation is going to be about how FIDO can help you save money and how you can make money, and then how to take this message back to your team. So thanks. We're going to dive right in. We do have time for questions at the end. So if you got questions that pop up, jot them down, and then I'll be on camera for that at the end to answer some of those things. So first of all, who are we? We are StrongKey. We are a data security company that have been around for quite some time, but FIDO is close to our hearts. It is core to our identity. We joined the Alliance in 2014, certified our first server a year later, and now we have the world's only FIDO certified open source FIDO2 server. We have comprehensive data security, so we do stuff beyond FIDO. And we like to think that we are easy, secure, and affordable. All the things that I would describe FIDO with, too. What is this FIDO? So just in case this is your first presentation, just in case you're a little bit less familiar with FIDO, it stands for Fast Identity Online. That's a good way to remember this. This is an easy way to show who you are online. But maybe you already knew that, but maybe I can toss a fun fact at you that FIDO, another way to remember this is it's from the Latin, which means to put trust or confidence in something. And I thought that was a pretty cool marketing move by the Alliance. Till now, I thought this was someone's dog or something, but actually some really, really great background and ways to remember what FIDO is when you explain this to other people. And the goal of the Alliance that we are joined with is to change authentication with open standards that are more secure than passwords, simpler for your people to use, and easy to deploy. The FIDO Alliance has lots of great members, government agencies around the world, some of the best known financial institutions, the tech giants that you'd expect to see in an alliance like this, other alliances, and then us, StrongKey. Again, since 2014, this is really core to who we are, and we're really excited for this conference. All right, so slow down just a little bit here, and we're going to talk about how FIDO can help you save money. In a lot of conversations that I have, IT people are often fighting for budget or perceived as cost centers. And I think one of the things that's exciting about FIDO is it can come in and show you real changes to your business to save money. And not in like the way of like, oh, our tool is better than this tool and you can knock $1,000 off a year. These are substantial changes that could happen to your business if you implement FIDO. So first of all, well, I guess it's important to understand what you can actually do with this technology. So FIDO2, which you may also have heard described as WebAuthn, it's passwordless authentication. It's based on public key cryptography. Key takeaway here is the highest assurance level for authentication, even higher than digital certificate smart cards that the DoD uses. And what can you do with it? Well, importantly, you can get rid of passwords, minimize identity theft and data breaches. You make it as easy as a gesture, your face, your fingerprint, all sorts of things. It works across all platforms, supported by all browsers. What we're going to focus on is getting rid of passwords, because this is going to be the key to a lot of this cost savings. Quick note on passwords. So I think we're all probably sick of passwords. There's lots of icebreaker jokes that I could insert here. My favorite one is, if you remember in Hawaii in 2018, there was a false emergency alert. I think this is what it actually looked like on people's iPhones. Ballistic missile threat is coming. It's not a drill. except it was false. And the governor knew this, but he couldn't say anything for 15 minutes. And you ask why, and this is a quote from Hawaii's governor, I have to confess, I don't know my Twitter account logons and passwords. Oh man. And that delayed, that caused some real anxiety. And look, passwords, they're annoying. They're also expensive. So here's some 4 costs, and we're going to dive into these in more detail. But at a high level, passwords are expensive because of costs associated with help desks, with loss of employee productivity, with data breaches, and with extra tools that passwords necessitate that you use alongside of them. All right, so password resets. It happens all the time. Someone forgets a password. Like what actually happens in this moment? So what happens when an employee or a customer forgets a password? Well, maybe they guess a bunch of things. They get them all wrong. Maybe they get distracted and send a Slack message to someone complaining about how stupid passwords are. Maybe they go to some documentation that someone had to invest time in on how to reset your password. There's a cost there. Maybe they call or email your IT help team. Gartner says that up to 50% of your IT's help team inquiries are related to password resets. There is a cost to that. And even larger operations, sometimes they outsource this to call centers. 6% of call center activity is password resetting. That all adds up. The average help desk labor cost for a single password reset is $70. Do the math over the year. Some large organizations allocate $1 million every year for password-related support. And the McKinsey goes even bigger. So this is related to that 4th bullet. When you look at call centers handling this, McKinsey says, budget $5 to $20 million. Passwords and password resets are expensive. It also goes to lost productivity. So what happens when an employee forgets a password? Well, maybe they look around, they're like, what Post-it did I write that password on? I've got a colleague who just keeps little slips of paper in his wallet, and maybe he goes and looks for his wallet to see what password that was. Maybe they dig through old email. Sometimes you email someone that spreadsheet of all your passwords. Maybe you just get locked out because you tried too many times and you wander down to get some coffee whenever we're allowed to wander down and get some coffee again. But frustration goes up, productivity drops. Now imagine if you're an off-shift employee, you're working at midnight. Well, your help desk may be making you wait even longer. And it's even worse if it's impacting customers, like maybe you can't access your CRM, or maybe it's your e-commerce website. Could damage those relationships. It can mess with your sales cycle. I've got salespeople. I know how finicky they are. It could lead to lost revenue. And even worse for customer-facing websites. The University of Oxford says 1/3 of online purchases are abandoned when your customers can't remember their passwords, or maybe they just quit using your site. Passwords are costing you. They're costing you in lost productivity and in lost customers. It comes down to this. This is the same quote from the University of Oxford. Users are extremely impatient online. Yeah, probably me too. I'm probably extremely impatient online too. Passwords are making you lose money, and the answer is not just layering more security on. Because look what happens. Some organizations, they turn to OTPs, one-time PINs. We're going to send you an SMS. I'm sure you've gotten these. These are more secure. They're not invulnerable, but they're more secure, but they're annoying, and they cost you money. Every SMS is costing money. Some organizations turn to password managers. Okay, they're more convenient and they're more secure sometimes, but some of them have been actively hacked. Others have had vulnerabilities exposed, and they're even more expensive than one-time PINs. And you can even ramp things all the way up to smart cards. Quite secure option, but can run $16 a card. Looking at deploying biometric readers and other instances. So just adding more security, like a lot of the market's doing now, is not going to cut it. It still is expensive. And And then not to mention, of course, data breaches. By this point, I'm almost certain you have seen some of these stats, so I'll go quickly here. 2 billion credentials are stolen annually. A lot of that's connected to passwords. Data breaches are expensive, and using passwords puts you at risk for data breaches. Last thing here, I mentioned 4 costs, and so this is the last 4th cost. And sometimes the people we speak to don't think about this one as much. But when you manage passwords, there's often many additional expenses. So single sign-on, password reset, MFA solutions, those are often separate vendors that you may be paying for. If you're paying for monitoring tools that monitor when someone's stolen a password database or launched a dictionary attack on a public website, that costs. Scanning tools for keystroke loggers, phishing prevention, all those fancy educational tools to stop your employees from falling victim to phishing, these things add up. So passwords versus FIDO. Again, help desks, productivity, data breaches, and all these extra tools, passwords are expensive. But FIDO is affordable. There's many free resources available on GitHub. We ourselves have a freely available open source FIDO2 server you could go on and download today. No license fees, no per user fees, none of that. Many people you work with already have a FIDO authenticator. And even when you don't, if you're purchasing these authenticators, a lot of them are pretty affordable. Password's expensive, FIDO not. Here's that recap. Help desks have costs. FIDO says no password to forget is no password to reset. Passwords help your employees lose productivity. FIDO means they don't wait around being frustrated when logging in is as simple as a biometric. Passwords can lead to data breaches. FIDO dramatically reduces the likelihood of a data breach. Passwords say, hey, you got to buy a bunch of extra tools too. FIDO says, well, actually, a lot of those tools become a little redundant or unnecessary. So I'm just going to pause here. This is kind of the meat of the presentation here. I hope you see that passwords, like, it's beyond annoyance. It's an actual expense to your business. And FIDO is a fundamental shift from this that can save a lot of this money. I'm taking a quick drink of water, let that slide sink in. We're going to move to how FIDO can make a bit of money and then how you can communicate that message. All right. Now, I'll admit here, because I don't want to stretch, like I don't want to overly sell this thing. I'll admit that I see FIDO as a bit more of an operational savings tool, but I do believe that customer-facing businesses can expect to make more money by deploying FIDO. Think about it like this. Customers love low friction experiences. Think of how easy Amazon's one-click is. I mean, for me personally, as I've fallen a little bit out of love with some of Amazon's e-commerce options recently, it's actually like, oh my gosh, I got to create a new account and register this new thing. Like, I've gotten so accustomed to how easy some of Amazon's stuff is. FIDO can provide that same low friction experience for your customers. This means lower cart abandonment. Different kind of customers, so those who are more security minded, well, they will appreciate that you are doing this for them and for their security. And the FIDO Alliance even now has little cool logos that you can put next to your website that assure them that you are using the strongest means to authenticate them. It's great. And then once your people are used to FIDO, everything else feels pretty clunky. It's this kind of a muscle memory. I think of this as a musician. You get used to doing the same behavior. It's great. It's an improved customer experience. It's what we're already used to on our phones and our laptops. If you've got a face reader or a fingerprint reader on your laptop, all of these things can lead to making more money by deploying this tool. All right, so I've got you here. You're convinced. I mean, you liked FIDO enough to register for this conference. I'm actually kind of interested in the people you work with who are not here. And I think a good way to recap this is to help you understand how to talk to them about why this is worth spending some time on. First thing that we have seen some success with in our experience is breaking down your audience and what they are looking for. So we think of this in 3 groups, nice and easy, 3 groups. The first one, your C-level folks, so your business leads. To them, FIDO means cost savings and sometimes increasing revenue. And I promise you, your CEO and CFO will love that. That's what they're about. It also means that there's a lower risk of reputational damage from a data breach. They don't want to be in the news for that. And you can assure them that implementation is not that hard. It's not that hard at all. It's actually a very easy technology to build into a business. Second group of people are your technical leaders. So CISOs, CTOs, your VP level. Well, I know how crazy these people get and how dumb your users are falling for phishing emails. Some of them are pretty good. I shouldn't blame users all the time. But FIDO means no phishing. You can stop going crazy at your users falling for these tricks, and lower occurrences of data breaches mean you get to look good. And if you happen to be in an organization that maybe does perceive IT as that cost center, here's an opportunity to position something as cost savings and revenue building. Again, it kind of helps these people get elevated to a more strategic level when we've spoken to them about this technology. And lastly, your implementers. And I assume this is what all of your engineers look like. Most of our engineers look like this guy in our business. So these are all your line level engineers. They're the ones doing the work, product owners, DevSecOps. To them, we tell them FIDO is so easy to implement. It's also low pressure. Don't you hate when salespeople come at you and you got to sit through all their demos and get special download links? You can check FIDO out on your own time because it's out there on GitHub, freely available, open source with a community around it, talking people through it. You actually can find some blogs out there of people building their own FIDO servers and what that's looked like. So you get to evaluate this tool on your own time. And in my experience, engineers love that. You get help in creating applications that make you look good. You get to work with brand new technology, and it's a standard. So you're not locked into what one vendor has said about authentication. So those are the three audiences. And then what do? Well, you show them what other people have done. FIDO's gaining traction. It's here. There's some powerful case studies already. After Google implemented FIDO, not one of their 85,000 employees got phished. The US federal government chose FIDO for one of their services, login.gov. They said it is their top choice for the combination of security, cost, and compliance. NIST, highest level of assurance. And they've gone beyond that. The National Cybersecurity Center of Excellence, this is a part of NIST. They've done multiple reference projects that demonstrate how useful FIDO is. You can go to these projects. You can see their practice guides on how you can do this. So there are messages you can deliver. You can also put together a demo. I've mentioned GitHub a couple times. Here it is. We've got our server. The Alliance has a how to FIDO link. There is a white paper that just came out on how to present FIDO to the C-suite. And FIDO's got a really easy to understand site, loginwithfido.com. So all of this can be packaged up into a message. We're here to help. Others are here to help. There's some awesome FIDO listservs where people are pitching in and answering questions all the time. I've really experienced it to be a community that is interested in uplifting the technology and not just an individual company. So there you go. Who are we? StrongKey, holistic security, the world's only open source FIDO certified FIDO2 server. FIDO, passwords are bad. FIDO's great. FIDO can help you save money through operational savings, mitigating breaches, minimizing password resets, and it can help you make money. Some customers love low friction. Some customers love great security, and everybody loves a great user experience. And how to talk to your people? Well, talk to them in language that they would understand, lean on case studies, and building a proof of concept is probably easier than you might think, and people are happy to help. So with that, thanks. I hope this was beneficial. I hope the conversation can continue, and if there's any questions, I'd love to listen to them now. Thanks.